Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Maya Cryer and welcome to my YouTube page, Maya Simone. And my YouTube page is about lifestyle, blogging, and also filmmaking. I am a filmmaker and I'm also an actor. And today I have a segment called The Creative Process. And the creative process is about coming together with other like-minded creatives, talking about their process, talking about how they got started, what inspires them in their creativity, and where they are in the world with their work. Today I have an amazing friend who I've known for over 10 I've known her for over 10 almost 10 years now. And her name is Ester-Rose Diaz. Esther Rose, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much.
Good. It's so good to have you on. Thank you for coming on and giving us your time talking about the creative process. So I just want to dive right into it. Tell me how you got started with your career and what exactly do you do?
Well, I am a producer and a creative, and I have been in the industry 15 plus years. I know I look 25.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But I've been in the industry for a really long time. I got my start a long time ago, obviously, and I started as a PA. I went to school to UCSB for film studies.
Mhm.
I actually had a really hard time to get my first start
Mm.
in the industry. I was working at Costco in college and transferred um, to a Costco in LA so that I could still have a job as I was pursuing to try to get into the industry. And it took me like a year to finally get in because I didn't know anybody and
Right.
I didn't have any experience and they weren't giving anyone an experience. And you're like thinking like, oh, a year, that's not enough. But I had that's like that's it. It sounds like a little bit, but honestly, I applied to almost 500 jobs
Oh wow.
in that year
A
so
go.
that so that I could finally get an insight. One, like the motivation was like I was tired of like working at Costco. Here I was with a degree that I just graduated and still working at Costco.
Mhm.
And so that really drove me to really constantly pursue. But I applied to about 500 jobs before I got my first start that somebody just happened to take a chance on me.
Mhm.
It was like a dire need that they needed somebody. They're like, okay. And they gave me a chance. And once I got that chance and once I got my foot in the door, I just just started to people, got any connections and really never stopped working. And then from there, I just started building my career in working in different part of the industry because I always knew I wanted to be a producer. So
Mhm.
I really wanted to know every ins and outs of every department to the best of my abilities at the
Right.
level that I was at. So I was a PA for almost like all departments, except like transpo and locations. But almost, I worked in costumes. I worked in art department. I worked in post production, and I just really wanted to learn how the inner workings of each department was because as a producer, I really wanted to be well rounded and
That's
understand their needs, understand the way they work and the way they function. So that was really really helpful in just my success and really in building and when I started producing my own things, just knowing that I could jump in like, oh, okay, cool, I know how they do this
right.
and this is how they do that. So that's how it all began. And the journey has taken a lot of turns, of course, as it does,
Right.
but that was the beginning.
But the ultimate question is, do you still have the Costco membership? Can we get a discount? You know what I mean? Like that's
I actually do not even have a membership. And it's so funny because I obviously like love Costco, but
right.
I hated working there because again, that wasn't where I was supposed to be. That wasn't where
Absolutely.
my calling was. So it was just a really depressing like job because I'm like, dang, what am I doing here? You know? Especially when I just graduated college. And was just like in a tough living situation too. And I was just like, I need to get out. I need to go live my life.
Exactly.
um, but no, Costco's awesome though. I
Right.
just don't have because I go into Costco for four things and spend $150.
Yeah.
So I
You're like, never mind, forget it.
I was only using it for gas, and I just didn't re up my membership anymore. I was like, I'm good. Bye.
Right. No, totally understandable. So as far as, there may be some people watching this that they don't really know what a production assistant is. So do you mind sharing a little bit about what a production assistant does and how vital and essential a PA is to a production?
Sure. So production assistant kind of differ between departments and what department you're in, but in essence, it's the person that is your hands to everything, like your helping hand to everything. Think of it really like an assistant. They're either runners, they're either a body where we need someone to stand, like let's say set. You need to help with background and making sure people are being safely set to a parking lot. So it just really depends, and you are wearing so many hats as a PA. You're doing so many different things, and they truly are vital to making a production run. The path of a production assistant, it can go to so many different venues in what your career is and what you're looking for. Like a lot of people, depending like where you want to be in your career. Like if you want to be a writer, a lot of people start as a PA in an office, and from the office you meet the writers, and then you start from as a PA for the writers, and then from there you can become a writer's assistant, and then a supervisor, and then eventually into the writing room. So it's a beginning, it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone for somebody in the industry, and it is just a really great job for anyone to have, because it really gives you an insight of the people that are holding it down. They're the first ones to arrive and the last ones to leave.
Yes.
And sadly, the lowest paying, but the ones we really need. And it gives you so much grit and so much like insight to what goes the ins and outs of a production, that it's such a good starting point. And I think there was another question that I might have missed, but what was the other thing?
Oh no, that was the question.
Okay, cool.
You said it, how essential and vital they are to the person.
Okay, perfect.
No, you said it good.
Did I forget? What was that other part? I'm like, yeah, okay. Good,
okay.
Paid jobs are they're terrible, but they're awesome at the same time, because especially like for me, what I loved, once I got my foot in, it was just this moment of like, you're part of the movie magic.
Yes.
Especially at the beginning, like with any like relationship, the beginning is like the roses, and you're like, this is amazing. I'm on a WB lot. Yes. Wow, look at me. Yes. We're not in Kansas anymore.
Exactly.
So it's like it's awesome when you start as a PA. It's a coveted role too. It's not an easy one to get. Like people really need to know you, and it takes some hard work to maintain it, and it takes some hard work to actually get in. But once you're in and you continue to just be a team player, a team player is an essential part of being a PA. Being able to willing to do whatever is needed to get the job done. Like you won't ever stop working.
100%. Yeah. I've been a PA multiple times in my day, and I agree with everything you're saying. I think that being a production assistant, you can use that to your leverage to be able to meet new people, to be able to meet the producers. And I think another important part about being a PA is having your work ready. So for example, like you said, if you want to be a writer and you're working on the WB lot for Abbott Elementary or something like that, maybe have a script on a USB drive, because somebody is going to, and you probably have this done before too, where someone asks you like, oh, what are you working on? Or what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So make sure if you want to be a PA, be prepared on the side when you at home or in between transpo or art department. You're making those connections and you're working with new people, and you have your work, whether it's a short, whether it's a script. Make sure you're ready, because you may be in that room a few months later. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I love the quote. I think it's an Oprah quote where she says it's luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's like really preparing for that moment. And being kind. Don't forget to be kind and hardworking. People like to be around good people.
Yes.
So, and they'll give opportunities to those kind of people. So that also helps.
Well, listen, that's a whole other dissertation. But so you have an incredible company called Blest Media. please share what it is, what you do, and what does a typical day look like for you, or maybe even a week?
Yes, I'm the founder of Blest Media, and I like to say we are a producer of media things because we do all things media, whether it's a live stream event, whether it's a short film, where there's a music video, whether it's a TV show, film, like we do all things. And we're also going really strong right now on creative content because that's kind of like the biggest need right now. So working on creative content and helping people really put their businesses out there, whether they're influencers or they're speakers and that are driven by like networking events or needing networking. That's kind of what we do. And my typical day usually starts around 7:30, maybe 8, depending on how late I go to bed.
Yeah.
Late. So around 7:30 or 8, I get up. I will do some meditation and prayer, and then from there I will work on content and release whatever content I have already scheduled for the day, depending on which platform I have scheduled for that day. So I'll release the content. I am going strong on LinkedIn right now because, as I said, I'm really working to help small businesses with their content. That's kind of my focus right now. So I'm going strong on LinkedIn. So I'm posting on LinkedIn and I'm in the community with LinkedIn and just chatting with people, making connections. So that's my first hour of work. And then from there, then I'm looking at my schedule to see what content I'm working on for that day, whether it's a YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn. Those are the four platforms I am working on right now and really staying focused on. So depending what I'm scheduled for that day, I'll work for another hour or so. And then my day will start, whether it's meetings or whether I need to head off to the office and see what's going on with our production life. And then come back and finish up any other content, loose ends that I didn't get to, whether I had meetings earlier, and checking up my calendar and looking at my goals every day, because that's helpful to see where you're at. Just checking up, okay, where am I? What's my weekly goal? What do I need to accomplish? I'm like, oh, okay, I need to make sure that I'm getting this done by this week. So let me get working on my series for TikTok, editing that, and just kind of catching up with my schedule is the evening. So that's my typical day. Typical weeks, kind of the same. Things will change if sometimes I'll have a live event that comes out of nowhere on a like Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So that shift my schedule. But those are kind of my typical days and my ideal days where I can like work on content stuff in the morning and then come back and whatever the day is, whether I'm working on a production or a meetings, that's the chunk of the afternoon, and then coming back and then finishing up the day with more work on my business.
You're busy. No, which is a good thing. But you're also a screenwriter, correct?
Yes. I met with my writing partner today because we're working on a script. So everything, when you are somebody who's so busy and has so much going on, everything comes down to schedule. So for me, big on scheduling the night before, because if I'm not scheduling the night before, I'll wake up and be like, I have nothing to do, when I have tons to
do, baby.
I don't know, nothing. I think I'm okay.
Have a matcha and take a walk, do a run,
Yeah, just enjoy the scenery.
Yes.
I find myself that I've done nothing if I don't schedule the night before. Like it took a habit to build, because there'll just be moments like I just forgot and I was like, crap. Right. And even when I just forget, I realize like if I happen to forget, like my day unintentionally just becomes like I don't know what I'm doing today. Right. Like it just like you have a bunch of stuff to do, but because you didn't schedule the night before. I know some people do the morning, so it's really about preference. But for me, it has to be the night before, because the morning I've never been a morning person. I have been trying to be a morning person for decades. For the
longest. I can attest to this, y'all.
You know me, I'm like I'm just trying to get my life. You know what I mean? I've been trying to tell Maya that I've been just trying to get my life. But I am not a morning person, and it has been like maybe a decade to finally get to a place where I'm getting up that early. Yeah, like it has been a struggle. I've always been a night person, but the world is a morning people. So like I had to start adjusting, and really taking advantage of my mornings. They say if you can is if you can win the morning, you win the day.
Yes.
So I throw in also, workouts in the mornings. I forgot about that. That's usually a typical work day too. But scheduling my day. So on Thursdays, I meet with my writer in the morning. At 10 a.m. we're doing Zoom calls or we're meeting in person. So yeah, we're doing that, and I'm really keeping my TikTok as my creative, because even though I'm really right now diving into the business side of my business and my production, don't want to lose the creative, because it's like I don't think as a creative you can ever like lose it. So for me to not go into depression, I'm keeping my TikTok as just my creative. So I'm just creating funny little skits or funny series for right now, just me. But I eventually want to start producing things on my TikTok under my name with other people, and like even I don't have to be in it. I just want to keep that creative juice flowing of creativity, of just creating, like whether it's comedy, whether whatever, like just keeping that creativity alive.
And leaning more into that, I know, like you talked about your business and it's thriving and it's great, and you put so much heart and soul into it. So how do you find that balance between putting time into, scheduling that time for your business? Because what I've learned is that as creatives, we also need to learn how to be entrepreneurs as well. We need to learn how to become business people. We can't just leave it to the lawyers and to the other business people when it comes to contracts and finances and things like that. So I think putting time and mental energy into those things is vitally important, but also the creative aspect, the writing, the producing, the, getting the inspiration and the brainstorming. How do you balance the two?
That's a really good question, because it took me a minute to really discover that and figure that out, because creatives, we get so stuck in the creative and we don't want to think about the business side. We don't want to think about the legal things, and we don't want to think about that stuff, because that's just like there's no color in a contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no cinematic shots that I'm like, I can't. This is too much.
Yes.
I can't go. Like I was having a meeting with a potential assistant that I want to hire, and she was showing me like systems and processes that she came up with, and it was all like set a spreadsheet. And I was like, how can we put that in like Asana where there's color? Because I'm
I need some pink and yellow in your man.
Like this is like already I'm stressed.
I'm stressed.
I'm stressed already. So it's something that I really had to shift my mindset. I really had to shift, like, and maybe I know that obviously I'll get to a point where I'm not having to do it all by myself, like SEO and keywords. Like I don't want to know about that, but I have to know about that. You know what I mean? Yes. And so I had to shift, like I have to at least become a layman on these terms, understanding the business side, understanding those things to a capacity where I will even know how to hire somebody. Because if I don't know nothing, I'm just going to hire anybody, and then it will be a waste of time and money because I didn't put the right person in place, because I don't even know from the beginning.
Exactly.
So it's something that had to just like shift, and you have to just embrace it and not be afraid of it. I think for me, I think I was just like afraid. It just felt so overwhelmed, and it just felt like so much. And I started to just take it one thing at a time. And I said, okay, for this time, these 3 months, 6 months, I'm only focusing on learning sales and marketing. Just focus on sales and marketing, and all the other stuff. It's just like, I'm going to take it one day at a time, and like breathing through it. Like, okay, I know that I don't like this, and I know that this is hard, but I have to learn this, and it's going to be okay. Yes. I'm going to get through, I'm going to get through this, and let me just take it and try to understand it, and keep like reading different people, like reading different books or different things, or watching different videos, and change like what you're watching and what you're reading. If it's too much, like it's overwhelming, that it's making you feel overwhelmed, then don't read that book. Read another book. There's stuff that you can that will help you grasp, because we all learn differently, right? And we all have our different ways of understanding. And find that thing, or find either that YouTube page or that book that you're like, okay, I get what he's saying. Other everyone else, I was like, I don't know, and you're making me run more. Right. So find that that thing that will help you like get to a place where like, okay, I don't feel so overwhelmed. It's not so stressful. So the way I balance is knowing that I just kind of, it's something you have to learn, and accepting that it's okay to feel the way you feel about it being too much, but not staying there.
Exactly.
And pushing it to the side where like I don't want to do it, and ignoring it, because it's detrimental to your career, because we get lost in the creative. But if you really want to make a dent and become something, you have to learn business. You have to.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. And I like that you brought up the point of, if something's not working for you, change it. I know a lot of times we can look at the New York bestsellers list and be like, okay, well, I have to read all these books.
Yeah.
Everyone's mentioning them, or I have to watch this video. And you're reading it or you're watching something, you're just like, it's still not connecting for me. Do what works best for you so that you can be successful in your own timing, in your own rhythm. As a creative should. We're always innovating. We're always thinking of how to make something greater, or how to tell the story better. So however you need to tell your story better for you, then do it.
Yeah, and it's like we have to always keep learning in our craft, because things are changing.
Right.
Us right now, where we're at, like things are changing. So always, like, not just be learning in your craft, but also be learning in the business side. Like you have to be very like educated in that sense, so that you can make the right choices, and then you're not making the choices because you had to learn the hard way.
Right.
At least diminishing those moments to the best of your ability.
Please, girl. So how does your creative process work? Like when you have an idea for a script, or someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to produce this project, how does your creative process work from beginning to the end?
Well, it really depends on the project, right? And the person that is coming to me and where they're at in the process. Sometimes people will come with an idea, like, I have this idea. And I'm like, okay, cool. So who's going to write it? Or where are you at? Who's the biggest thing too is, obviously with films and stuff, is financing. Okay. So how do you want to finance this?
Right.
What are you thinking? Like, and we can't really move forward unless we have a script. So if people come to me with an idea, it's great. Like, I love the idea. Let's do it. But like, okay, come to me when you have the script, and then we know how to move forward to, making it come to fruition.
Right.
But my creative process and things that I'm working on personally, it will depend on what it is. Like, sometimes like an idea will just come to me and I was like, oh, okay, that's funny. I love that. Like, then that's when I know I'll do it. If it's too hard to, I don't want to say too hard because that's not the right word, but if it's just not coming to mind as easy as some other things, that I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's time yet.
Right.
I don't know the one that I got to work on right now.
That's good.
So I kind of gauge by like the fluidity of the process, in the sense like, oh, this one's just flowing. I'm like, cool, we can do this. I can knock that out, no problem. And then the other stuff will just continue to mull over. I'm like, okay, there's something there. Like, if I have an idea, like I'm like, there's something there. So I'll just constantly be thinking about it and write notes like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's write that down. Like, so it's just like those won't become like a slower process of it coming to life. The other ones are like, if they come quicker, then okay, I'm working on these right now.
That's good. Because as a creative, and you might have been in this spot before, we want to work on everything that comes to our brains.
Yeah. And that was something I really had to learn the hard way, to be honest. Because I was so focused on short term that I was constantly shifting. Like, no, I'm gonna work on this now. No, this one's gonna make me known quicker. Yeah. No, this one's gonna make me money faster. So I was stopping everything. I just kept stopping this, stopping that, because I kept like trying to find this path of like shortcuts without unintentionally really knowing that I was trying to find a shortcut to success.
That's good.
And something that really shifted for me and has just brought this clarity and this just release of overwhelmingness and stress, especially as a creative, is starting to shifting my mindset to the long-term game.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just be consistent in this area.
Yes.
Let me just be consistent and working every day on this area and keep getting better on this.
Great.
And even though like you're like squirrel, oh wait, let's go look.
Yeah.
You're like, nope, bye. Let the squirrel do its thing. Come back.
Yes.
And stay focused on this long-term game. Like I just started my YouTube, and thank you so much. And I'm just kind of documenting the process because I find myself going through so much of this journey of businessship and entrepreneurship, and like how much of the challenge it is as someone was starting. And I kind of wanted to just document that process in hopes that it will help people, from what I've been learning and how I've been growing, and just being like raw about it all, like the disappointments, the insecurities. I have like 2 views, 3 views, but it's so actually it's really humbling. It's kind of exciting because you're like, man, this is awesome. Like I'm starting somewhere. I'm starting, like I made it happen. I edited, I put the thumbnail, like I'm trying and I'm learning along the way.
Yes.
And I'm not looking for the viral. I'm not looking for the high numbers. I'm looking for the consistency, and I'm looking to be better.
Yeah.
Every time I'm posting, every time I'm making a new video. So like my very first video, I literally called it The Beginning. And it's terrible. Like I had terrible lighting. It really was a very raw clip. Like I happened to set up my camera in a corner in my room, and I just was like, I'm just gonna set it up just so I have no excuse.
Yeah.
And so I kept seeing it all the time, and I was like, dang, I should just like record something. It's like there, it's ready.
Right.
Like I just had the camera on the tripod in the corner, set and ready. And one day I just was really, really having a hard day, really struggling with just this process, and just press record and was just like completely just vulnerable and transparent. And the lighting was terrible. I don't even know if I had any lighting. I think eventually I put like a ring light, but the lighting was so bad, like I had to edit it for YouTube in black and white. I was like, I can't
Look at this.
Me being a filmmaker, yes, I know that what I was working with, like, and it's terrible, but I couldn't be that terrible.
Okay.
I'm like, let's just go with black and white.
Yes.
It was just I wanted it so much, even from just myself, because it's just a testament of truly the beginning.
Yes.
Truly the beginning, and how we're going to go so much in a higher, and how things will shift is as long as you keep being consistent, you keep working every day to be better.
Right.
And not looking for like, but I want to be viral by tomorrow. I want to have 1 million views by Tuesday, because that's just not what happens.
Right.
And people say this all the time, and I don't know, it really has to click for a person, but success really is a 10-year overnight success. Like that's like truth. Such truth to where actual success comes from.
Yeah.
And when you shift your mindset to this long-term game, it really will help you. It's okay, because I'm only really into this a year. If you really think about it, you think a lot of times you're like, I've been trying this for 10, 15 years, but have you like consistently and really being honest with yourself? Have you really tried that long?
Right.
And if you have, then make sure you're getting better every time.
Exactly.
And I'm putting in the work, because it becomes, at that point, it becomes a number game. If you put your name in a hat that many times, your name's going to be called eventually. It's a numbers game. And when I shifted that mindset, when I shifted to start saying, okay, long-term game, like I stopped looking at the shiny things on the road and be like, ooh, what's that? Let me try that. Nope.
Right.
Because all those shiny, like different projects, or all those different, like, oh, let me try this. YouTube videos pop up, make $10,000 easy in 1 month by doing drop shipping, and you're like, oh, let me try that.
Come on, drop shipping.
So, and then you quickly realize all of it, like, oh, it's just a matter of where do you want to put that time and effort.
Right.
to bring to success.
That is amazing that you were able to get in your mind, okay, I need to move from short term to long term. Because especially within the entertainment industry and, you know, being in LA, it's always like, what's the next best thing? How do I get this? You know, we're trying to run get rich quick schemes a lot of
All the
the time.
I think it's part of being a creative. Like that's in your genes, impatience.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to make it, figure out how we're going to get rich, because we don't want to be waiters and Uber drivers anymore. So we're trying to find the quick rich so that we can continue to pursue our creativity. Yeah. But like, if I could just do this, I'll make money real fast, and then I can still be pursuing my creative like drive and desire.
Right.
So like we get lost in that.
But it's like sometimes it's you gotta take the long road, make sure that you are financially stable. So if it is waiting tables or whatever the case may be, you know, I've done it. Whatever you need to do it so that the roof is over your head, but scheduling the time to be creative and scheduling the time to write, to meet with other creatives in order to keep the juices flowing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do both simultaneously until someone does, or someone or a certain group of people recognize, oh, they have this, okay, now here's the money, or here's this, but the time that you put in will show, you know, do you really love this? Do you really love what you're doing, or were you just doing it just to flap your gums? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That then the true desire where you are or what you really want to do really comes out. Like, because being a creative, it's not an easy road, man. Like we know, it's a challenge. It's not for the faint.
It's not
for the faint. So you really gotta love it.
Yeah.
And I'll say this to be encouraging for those who are having those jobs that they hate or that they don't want to go to. Pushing yourself to find the moment, whether it's at night or in the morning, really in the morning, because what I find is when I am doing my side business creative stuff in the morning and I'm going into another production or something, like a bunch of meetings, and I'm like, I'm not looking forward to this. It changes my sense of like being of positivity. Like, okay, I was productive. I got my stuff done. Okay, now let me face the day.
Yes.
So it really, I find like when I decide that I'm like, oh, I have an earlier meeting, or I miss like having those moments with working on my things, my passion projects.
Yeah.
My day is just goes down, like just energy wise. I'm like, dang, I haven't done anything for myself. It's like really you don't do anything for yourself.
Yeah.
And get lost. So it's really about pushing through those things. And I think Alex Hermosi said something that was really great. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look it up. I have it.
She's great.
Where did I put it? He says something that's really great, that he says
that's right.
He says to focus on the inputs, not the outputs. He says don't learn to love money, learn to love making money. So, you know, he's in business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he talks about like don't fall in love with all the like the accolades and the things that come, but follow the process of getting to those accolades, because those accolades, and someone said this as well, I think it was Andrew Huberman, about how loving the hard is what really produces true dopamine. And the dopamine doesn't come from receiving. The dopamine comes from like pushing yourself to when you reach that goal. That's all the dopamine. And really changing your mindset and your understanding, like it's the dopamine is coming from the working hard, from the grit, from pushing through those moments where you want to quit, and changing your mind that, and change your mindset, and like let me fall in love with me putting in the work than me receiving the paycheck, because that paycheck will make you happy for 2 seconds, and then you're like, Dan, I gotta chase the next one.
Right.
So it's like that's the outputs that you don't want to stay tied down to and committed to. You want to really start keeping your mind on the outputs of what it takes to get there.
Yes.
Because it's not going to stop. We're always going to want more.
Right.
and the car is going to be nice for 5 days or whatever, a month. We're like, okay, cool, we love it. But then you're going to forget you're even driving that car until somebody points it out. You're like, oh, that's a nice car. I was like, oh, yeah, thanks. You're in your mind already thinking about the stresses of life, but focusing on the work that you're doing to get to a place rather than focusing on the things that you're receiving will really help in pushing you through the hard things of being a creative, those hard times that come as a creative.
Absolutely. Because like to your point, it can be fickle. It can be here one day and gone next, or you can get that car and then God forbid something happens to it the week following, or you car registration, gas, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I think we also have to, as creatives, put things in perspective and get in touch with reality, because we spend a lot of our time imagining, which is great, which is what we should be doing, but then it's also having that realization of, okay, but these are my values, these are my morals, these are the things I need to stick to as just a person in general, so that I'm not getting caught up in the shiny objects along the road.
Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of what you mentioned earlier, as far as things shifting and changing a lot of times, or a lot of the time, AI technology, all this new technology happening, vastly being created every day. What is your take on it? And do you use any AI or technology for when you're creating?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with AI. If you can't beat them, join them, right? And if you really, I'm sure if you're not jumping on the AI bandwagon, you are going to be stuck in this CD, iPods, life, DVD, trash bag. You know what I mean? Recycling, for lack of better words. But like you have to, unfortunately or fortunately, you have to embrace it. And I think that AI, just with anything in the world, anything, there's good and there's bad. It's just a matter of how you utilize it, right? But I am actually really enjoying this time that we are in with AI, because especially as a person who's very busy, it has really helped me be very efficient with a shorter amount of time.
Right.
So I use AI a lot in helping me come up with ideas, and just any kind of questions that I will have. I'll like put it up there and say, this is what I'm looking for. Give me some ideas. And then I'll read it through and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then it just sparks. It's like, it just sparks something that I'll adjust or that I'll change. And it has really just helped just make things so much faster, especially like if you don't have a lot of time.
Right.
So I am embracing AI. There's so much AI too out there. So I'm kind of just taking my time to learn a project, I think, or I should say a software or app at a time, because it really is also a learning curve.
Right.
So, and it'll probably get easier and easier. But for now, I'm embracing AI as much as I can to be as efficient as I can, and helping me grow in business or in content creation is really where I'm like really using it a lot to maximize my time.
So being efficient is one of the main reasons, or becoming efficient is one of the main reasons why you use it.
Yeah. And I like I said, there's so much that AI is doing that I haven't even tapped into also.
Right.
Because it's also will take time to learn it. It's like finding the time. So I'm really learning I'm taking the time to learn things that right now are helping me efficient with time in creating certain kind of things, like, whether it's captions or whether it's helping me schedule things or sparking ideas of, okay, like this is what I'm thinking. Give me a few more ideas of what this, and then just kind of picking through that, because you can't solely depend on AI.
Right.
You'll get lost in a robotic you know,
Right.
system posting. Like people want trust. People want authentic voices, and so you can't completely rely on it 100%. You have to put your own take in it as well. But it's great for inspiration.
Yes.
So that's what I use it for.
I agree. I definitely use it to just have quick ideas or quick things I need to, you know, figure out, like if I need a sentence for something, like using it
Mhm.
for captions or using it for a bio for Instagram or something. And then yeah, putting my own voice into it, remixing it however I need to make sure it still sounds relatable and sounds
Right.
like me. But yeah, just quick little things. It's just like, okay, let's get it done right now because we need.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just so fast. It's
Yeah,
so fast. And it's yeah, it's just helping us even more being productive.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
getting a lot more done in a short amount of time.
As creators, if we want things to hurry,
Yeah, exactly. And as you're starting as a creative, like both of us, we're working in a place where we really are a one man team right now. We're just in this beginning of our career, or like where we're slowly but surely growing into, like, I'm grateful that I'm looking into finally starting to add an assistant, like I'm a VA. Like I had a good meeting that I might have a VA soon. So it's like the beginning, the beginning of a team.
as,
That's when you can really like flourish as the team progresses.
as you should. And congratulations in advance.
Thanks.
You're welcome. What event or series of events led to what seemed like a failure in your creative career, but it was actually a step toward a success you've been working for?
Okay, so there was one of the lowest moments of my career was when I decided to make a choice of leaving assistant world and stepping away from that, because that's like kind of all the jobs I was getting at one point, and I was just getting so busy because as a production world, we're working 12 to 16-hour days,
Yes.
Monday through Friday, and on the weekends we're like trying to work on things, but sometimes we're so tired, so it's like we're just catching up on the weekends with our daily routines, because we're working every day. We're working long shifts and long hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was getting to a point where I kind of had to make a choice, like, do you want to keep being an assistant, or do you want to take a chance and try this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't having much time to write. I really wasn't like doing much in my career, because my production was all I was doing, but not for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make a hard choice of leaving the assistant world, the production world, and no longer taking any more jobs as an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to do the creative jobs, which is Uber Eats, Postmates, Lyft. That's the new one. That's the new one we're doing. Instead of being waiters, now we're Uber Eats, and we're doing driving Lyft, and we're driving Uber. So
Instacarting, all those things.
and all of those things. So I decided to step back from the production world and start doing that kind of jobs for income. And it was such a hard time in my life, because one, it was just like I was not making enough money,
Yeah.
and really, really struggling financially, and was just like, did I make the right choice? Like, here I am. I'm like, I can't even pay my rent. Like, I'm getting a notice for eviction, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like,
What am I
is this
doing?
good?
Right.
For a moment, I didn't like. I was like displaced. I was living in 6 months for somebody for subletting, like not really having like a place, and just really, really struggling financially. Just really, really struggling. Like, what am I doing with my life? And nothing was actually moving. I was pursuing. At the time, I was pursuing so much too. I was pursuing acting. I was pursuing comedy. I was pursuing writing, and it just like felt like nothing was moving. Like the dial wasn't moving. I'm struggling. I'm barely making it, and that was a really, really hard time in my life. But I eventually realized that it was exactly what I needed.
Mm,
It pushed me into a new venture of like, okay, well, what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to start doing background work, because background work will allow me to still write because I have a lot of downtime,
right.
but the pay is better and I don't have to drive around, which I hated.
Yes.
Hated driving and like having these people in my car. I just was, some people love it and I just was not a person. I did not love it. I
Right.
did not love being a Lyft or Uber driver. It was just a really hard thing to do.
Right.
So unmotivating. So I started doing background work. And once I started doing background work, I really started to be so productive while I was on set and waiting, like just zone in, earphones in. I was all like, I had prepped, I had brought my, I knew how to like set myself up. I started befriending like grips and stuff. They brought me a stingers for my laptop.
Right.
Right. You know, I just started being like, hi, like just tried to befriending people that I needed to befriend. And as I became from background, I started doing stand-in work.
Mhm.
And from stand-in work, that's when it really, really like blessed me, because I really was working. I got on a show where I was working regularly Monday through Friday. I was on the show. I was one of the leads stand-in. So I was nonstop working on this show, and it was perfect because, again, same thing with being background. You do stand-in work, but it's not as they treat you a tad bit better.
Right. Tap it.
Because unfortunately, background can be a little bit brutal too. But
Yeah.
hey, I wasn't there for me. Like I wasn't there for the glamour. I was there for a reason. I was there because I just needed this paycheck, and I know I have a lot of downtime,
Right.
and I'm going to take advantage of this downtime. So that's where it really all began for me. Like really just honing in on my skill,
Mhm.
learning how to write, reading books about how to write, writing every time I got a chance to, and it just began like that. The process began, the growth began, and I really just started to hone in on my skill
Mhm.
and put in the time that it took. So things just started to shift there, and I ended up moving to New York. I want to go too much into my life story and have to really talk about all of the things in my life, but you know, it like I said, it trickled from there, and then I moved to New York, and I was I thought I'd be a big fish in a little pond because of all this experience I had in entertainment,
Yeah.
but I actually had a much harder time just becoming a stand-in there.
Mhm.
So babysitting, but I had all of this work under my belt, and I had all this like kind of like growth and mindset that even though the babysitting was hard, I had to start. I already knew like to shift my mind in the sense like I have this opportunity where this is paying me well,
Right.
and it's an easy job, and I'm still like finishing babysitting, and I'm going to Starbucks, and I'm writing all in the evening.
Yeah.
Really having that moment, like I had to do a lot of self checks and saying that I can't I can't depend on my success to be happy. I have to be happy in this moment.
That's good.
This right now is still life. This still right now is still a moment that I can be happy in. I don't need to be happy because I've made it. I don't need to be happy because I've sold a script or I'm working in production. I'm still pursuing my purpose,
Right.
and I'm still doing what I want to do, and I'm living in New York. Like I am like so I had to like really start shifting my mind. Like you can't depend on the things that you're getting, you know, to bring you joy. You really have to be present in this moment and be like, this is joy.
Yes.
I'm letting a thing, a person, something to bring joy into my life. I'm gonna enjoy this moment of life, enjoy this moment, and be grateful
Yes.
and be joy and happy now,
Right.
and not wait for the thing, because that thing is so volatile, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. Woo! Do you miss those days? No.
I miss those days only because they were like kind of like you know, in a sense like freedom, kind of like it's a little bit like I don't, not irresponsible, but like less responsibilities. Like right now, you know, I'm a producer of a this mega church where we run we're doing live events twice a week, and we are growing so fast. So I have a lot of responsibilities.
Yes.
And a lot of things that we're continuing to grow, and we want to get better. We're just at the beginning too. We haven't even touched the surface of where we're going, so we're just growing, and we want to get better. We want to just continue to do amazing things. We don't want to be just another church. We really want to spearhead this great production life that church doesn't have to look boring or terrible. Like, it can really be beautiful and cinematic, and creating those kind of stories too, because we shoot films and we shoot videos and promos, and so it's just, again, I'm ahead of this production in this big church, and it's just, again, it comes with so much responsibility. I'm grateful. It's been an amazing learning experience, and I've learned so much, but those days were just a little less responsible in that sense. I didn't have 50 people under me.
Right. Those days had an impact on you, a major impact on you, and they probably have helped you to be able to be responsible for 50 plus people on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis.
Exactly. No, exactly. And that's just like, testament that everything in your life is setting you up for the next thing.
Absolutely. Hands down. We miss New York though. We're going back.
Love New York.
Okay, final question, because I know you're a busy woman. So what is a question you had for yourself, or maybe about yourself at the beginning of your career, that has now been answered? Was there anything at the beginning of your career you're like, maybe personally or mentally or emotionally, like, why is this happening, or why is this not happening, or I always thought this about myself, but now as I've gotten all of these accolades and I've gotten all these projects, now I know this about myself or about the industry?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. There's always been this question inside of me that do I have what it takes to make it?
Mm-hmm.
I've always had this desire to be great, and I've always questioned, am I great? And it's funny when you say it out loud. It's like I can feel a little bit emotional about it, but it's a question that I've had for so long. And even last year, really having that question deep and continuing, like, am I going to make it? Am I supposed to do more? I'm desiring this thing to be something so bigger than I can see, that I can grasp.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that is even feasible? Am I even made that way? And something shifted where I started to think about really honing in on the purpose and who I am, and coming to terms with, I just want to help and serve the community, the person that's been given to me. If I help one person, if I inspire one person, and I know that's cliche, but if I just inspire one person to pursue themselves to be great,
Mm-hmm.
I have accomplished being great.
Yes.
And that's one of my things that I have realized, that my purpose is to believe not only in greatness for myself, but believe in greatness in people, and to be there to support and bring value to the world, to their lives, and focusing on the fact that, like, that's really truly what matters.
Yeah.
If I'm able to bless a person to achieve greatness, or to go towards what they've been called to do, then I've accomplished greatness. And that has brought so much peace into the question of, like, am I supposed to be something, this great thing that I have always desired or thought I would be?
Right.
And I think it just shifted when I really started to hone in on like my purpose. I read this really great book called Built to Serve by Evan Carmichael.
Mhm.
And it's so good because the title's a little bit misleading. I read it because I was looking for a book for leadership,
Mhm.
and it says Built to Serve and how to be something about leader.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Though I'm glad it was misleading because it really breaks down. It starts with breaking down really your true purpose and who you are and what you've been called to do,
Right.
and goes into that is our purpose in this world. It is in our biology to serve people.
Mm,
That is what we're made to be.
right.
You know, the chief of them all is a servant to them all. You know what I mean? So it is what we have truly been called to be is to serve.
Right.
So he breaks down like what truly your purpose is and who you are, and as you hone in onto those things, and he helps you find like 3 words to really define you. One word that has like one word specifically, and then it has 3 underlining words, so that encompasses it. So those words is who you are and how you show up to people and how you even are able to serve and help people, because this is now, like for me, like I said, greatness. This is why I've always struggled with it, because that is what my purpose is to help people embrace their own greatness, because we've all have been made to be great.
Yeah.
And in creating that support for them, and creating value to help them see that too, um, and share value with the world, because that's just like really what it came down to, like really understanding the person that I am and that I've been made to be. So that book really was transformational and helped me like answer that long question of like, what am I doing?
Why am I here?
Because it does not feel like I'm great. We live in this world where it's obviously you're comparing, and I don't ever I don't I don't compare myself intentionally. I think it's always happens to be unintentionally. But if you really look outside of what you're doing, and if I really took a moment to look outside of what I'm doing, like I have to really force myself sometimes to take those moments, because the things that I've been able to accomplish in the past 3 years have been just incredible.
Yeah.
Just like the grace of God, to be honest. But turning this a full production company from nothing to something,
Yes.
with the little experience on the live event side that I had. I'm a production world, that's
Right.
I come from the film TV world. I don't know the production world, but having to really force myself to learn and grow in that world, and to the capacity that God has allowed us to be in, and where it's He's taken us, has just been like transformational, and I just thank God for the grace and the favor to be able to do so.
Absolutely. And I'm a testament to that. Amen. I'm a witness to your greatness, and you are great in all that you do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, one last thing before we get off of here. What is something that you would like to tell your other creatives? I will have more guests on in the coming months. So what is something that you would like to tell the next guest?
Okay, the next guest, or just creatives in general, focus on the long-term game. That's a big one. When you can really wrap your mind around that and really have that true revelation and clarity of the long-term game.
Yeah.
So much stress and so much pressure of like, why haven't I made it?
Right.
Where is my shot? Why do I have to do this? So much of that will just be released, and focus on your day-to-days, on the outputs. What are you putting out? What are you working towards? And staying consistent.
Right.
Consistency and work is going to be your friend, because again, like I've said, it becomes a numbers game.
Right.
Working on your craft, always. Business side, always. There's always room to grow, no matter what. No matter how far you are ahead in the game, there's always room to grow.
That's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you dropped all the gems, all the nuggets. If you're watching this and you haven't taken anything from this, I don't know what you're doing, because it's all there, what you need. Where can the folks find you? website, socials, drop them.
I am everywhere at Media, which is BLEST.media, and I'm also at Queen Ester-Rose. So either of those things, Ester-Rose Diaz, Google me, you'll find me.
Google me, baby. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Esther. I love you so much, sis. Thank you, and thank you to all who tuned in. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.